Hey, beautiful people, it's your girl T, and I am back to do my next series. Okay, so this series, I got a little help from some of my subscribers. I asked a question. I'm going to be using Crayola colored pencils. I'm taking it back to the old school, taking it back to the very first colored pencils I've ever used. And I was wondering what book I should color in. It was a choice between Mein Fruhlings Spaziergang. I believe I also did A World of Flowers and some other book. But this is the winner, the Rita Berman book, Mein Fruhlings Spaziergang. So we're going to go ahead and color in this with Crayolas. Yay! I'm so excited. Okay, so I decided to do this book, or this series, because we have a lot of new people I've noticed in some of the coloring groups that are, new to coloring. They may not have, a lot of the fancy pencils that most of us have who've been coloring and collecting for a long time. So I decided to take it back to the old school and color with some Crayolas for this series. So I've chosen a picture. This is the picture I've chosen. It's a cute little picture. And for part one, I'm just going to be working on these little buildings. Okay. There's 3 buildings here. And my challenge for myself is to use only Crayola color pencils for the whole picture. Coloring as if these are the only pencils and tools I have for coloring. Okay, so I'm gonna have to get creative, and I'm gonna talk through most of these videos, and then some, of course, will be some silent ones. So I'm gonna be using today, I'll be using 6 different colors for the buildings, and I'm gonna those colors will pop up on the screen as I'm using them. I'm gonna be using Fuzzy Wuzzy. I'm going to be using Khaki and Apricot. So each of the buildings will be one of those colors. And then I'm going to shade all of the buildings with dark chocolate. Okay. And then the rooftops of these buildings, I will be using 2 colors. They're all going to be the same, which is going to be antique brass and beaver. Okay, so again, as I use the colors, they will pop up on the screen if you're wanting to follow along. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm so excited. Okay, so let's go ahead and zoom on in to these buildings. You guys, bear with me. You might hear some background noise. Just disregard that, please. All right, so I'm going to start down here because I'm going to get these probably later in the video. So we'll get started. All right, so the first color I'm going to be using is going to be the Fuzzy Wuzzy. And I'm using the Crayola 100 set, but then I also had some extras from, some sets that I had collected a while ago. So I have metallics, and I have the neons, the extreme colors, the neons mixed in there. Okay, I do understand that there is a 120 set out there. I've seen it on Amazon, but I've not been able to find that in Walmart or any of the other normal stores that you would shop, like Target and stuff. So good luck trying to find those, but your best bet's probably going to be on Amazon. And what I'll do is in the description below, I'll leave a link to both the 100 set and the 120 set, and any of the other colors I can find in a set. I'll leave those in the description below if you're interested in purchasing those. If you use my Amazon affiliate link, a small portion will go to the channel to help support it. Okay, so all right, so we're gonna get started. Oh, let me get my paper. Of course, I have to put something behind here. I always suggest putting a piece of paper, whatever, a mat, something behind your page. Okay, so this is going to be awkward coloring this because it's towards the end of the book, and as you can see, it wants to fold up, so you're going to probably see me have my hand on a lot of this. I'll try not to, but it's probably going to be inevitable that that I won't have my hand up here. Okay, so, all right, let's get started. All right, so you guys, I'm back to work. I'm back to work now, and you know, when you're gone from work for a long time, for about a week or so, you come back to a lot of email and just, you know, things you missed while you were out. Thank God my boss didn't have to call me while I was on vacation to ask questions, because that can happen sometimes. You know, if you're a supervisor or a management, something happens and, you know, they may not know what exactly to do because it's really your area and maybe they weren't trained on that. So I was lucky enough to not have to get any calls during the whole time I was off, which was great because I don't think I would have answered the phone anyway, just to be frank, because you know, most things that you know we do can be done by probably anyone if they just take the time to research what it is that needs to be done. So but you know, I did explain to my boss that I'm taking time off because I just need to relax and feeling a little stressed out and stuff, having chest pains, and I just want to do some you know, me time, relaxation. So I got a lot of coloring done. I'll be doing my finished pages from January to April, because I realized I didn't do a video for my finished pages. I haven't done one in a while, actually. So I'm just gonna do January through April since we're coming into May. Okay, so basically what I'm doing here is I'm just lightly taking the Fuzzy Wuzzy over the building where I'm going to have, this is the first layer, the first light layer. Okay, so I'm just mapping out where I'm going to have this color, and I'm lightly adding this to the picture. Now I did do some testing with these color pencils in the back, and they're going to work okay. They're not going to be the best on this paper. So I'm going to try my best here to work with these on this paper. And it's going to be a challenge, but I like challenges. All right, so we have the first light layer of Fuzzy Wuzzy. Okay, then I'm going to go into shading with dark chocolate. So this is going to be a couple of layers, okay? So just taking this lightly around the edges, you know, doing a little, some people call it feathering in or shading, however you want to call it. I'm shading the edges here and using a lighter touch as I come towards the center. Okay. Yeah, so coming back to work was good. I actually had one of my coworkers or my employees bring my package from work because she lives close by me, and she was so nice to bring it to me. And when she came to visit, she was like, "I cannot wait for you to get back to work." I was like, "What's going on? I mean, you're saying that, you know, what's happening over there for you to say that?" It made me feel nice that I was missed, but it also worried me because then when am I coming to work? You know, when I come to work, what am I coming to? But, you know, she was just saying she just missed, you know, having me there. Because also, too, if they have questions or concerns about something, you know, I'm kind of like the subject matter expert for our department, you know, as well as they are. But if they can't figure it out, they come to me and ask for help, and they haven't been able to for, you know, about a week. So they're ready for me to be back so they can feel like they can get some help, I guess. Not that they couldn't get help from anyone else, but you know, again, I'm the subject matter expert for a lot of the things that we do in our department. So, all right, so see how I'm lightly doing that. And you guys, this kind of reminded me when I was choosing the colors and like testing them out, I was like, oh, this is like chocolate covered strawberries. Even though like Fuzzy Wuzzy, I think is supposed to be in like the earth tone colors, has a pinkish hue to it, the pink tone to it. So, but yeah, so we're just lightly adding these, shading around this area. So for the beginners who are watching, if you are a beginner, you know, in the comment sections, tell me what kind of pencils you have. I think I might have a lot of those budget brand and beginner style pencils. I kind of, some sets I had, I got rid of because I just felt like I would never color with them. You know, but I refuse to give up my Crayolas. It's just because this is like nostalgic for me, nostalgic to color with these because I used to do this when I was young. So I will never give up on Crayola. I even have the Crayola Color Escapes. So if anyone has those and would like me to, you know, do a little color and chat or color one with those, I'll be happy to do that. So it was so hot today. We had weather of like almost 90 degrees and it's not even summertime yet. It's just really strange to have this kind of heat. Not really strange, but it seems like it's getting hotter sooner. Just like we had snow before Christmas, and we don't ever usually get snow before Christmas here in North Carolina. So especially down in the Piedmont. So I don't know. I think we're gonna have a really, really steamy summer, and I'm not looking forward to it because it's already hot here. We've had the AC on for probably maybe 2 or 3 weeks now. So we went from having the heat directly into AC. It's like we didn't get a chance to really open the windows and let some of that fresh, cool air in, you know, spring cool air. So, and then, you know, there's a lot of mosquitoes flying around outside. It's like really bugadocious outside. It's really bugadocious outside. I'm like, even sitting in here, I'm like, just a moment ago, you guys didn't see it, but I felt like something was crawling on my arm. So I was like, oh, what is that? Inside, not outside. You guys think that I'm like freaking out on, you know, over something that doesn't even exist. Because I looked at my arm, there's nothing there. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't like bugs. Thank God for pest control, because, you know, I can't do bugs, and I have to make sure I don't ever see any in here. So I don't mind paying for a service to come out to spray to prevent. All right, so now I'm going to go back with Fuzzy Wuzzy, and I'm going to add, just make sure I'm still in the frame. I'm going to add my second layer. All right. So basically, I'm just going to go in here with my second layer. I could have gone a little darker with the shading, but I just want to, you know, do this really light because this paper and these pencils are not a match made in heaven. They're a good match, but not a match made in heaven. So, and I do want this to come out nice. Sometimes the paper does make a big difference. And usually when you know, the paper is not all that great. You have to, you know, kind of work with it. I'm not one of those colorists who, you know, rips pages out of her books. And I don't make photocopies. I just want to color, you know, I just want to color what's in the book. And I like them to stay in the book. So that's just me. Not you know, not knocking anyone else down who does it. It's just my preference. I like them to stay in their homes. All right, so I'm just going over this again. I'm gonna add another light layer of Fuzzy Wuzzy. I love the names that Crayola came up with for the 100 set. It's really cute. They have some really cute names. All right, so that's it for the second layer on that. I'm not gonna put any more. I'm just gonna go over it again with the shading color. So, okay, so we're gonna go down here and do the same thing. Just lightly adding more colored pencil down here. Fuzzy Wuzzy. I did see, I forgot to shade around the window, so I will catch that too. Yeah, so back, you know, to bugs. I just don't like them. And I don't know if you all have experienced carpenter bees. Before we bought the house, we noticed that there were like in the screen door to the back patio, there was like holes inside of the wood, and it looked like a perfect circle. And I thought, you know, somebody just drilled a hole in the door possibly, and come to find out, the pest inspection guy said, nope, that's carpenter bees. I'm like, what? And I'm like, yeah, they'll eat your wood. They'll eat through your wood. So, you know, you gotta use pre-treated wood. That wood's not pre-treated. That's why they're eating through. And I was like, oh, so the owners, the previous owners went ahead and, you know, changed that out for us, the door, because of the hole. But I know that those carpenter bees are flying around outside. I don't think they found anything in our yard to get at, or our fence. But I have a coworker whose son actually makes the carpenter bee traps. So you can do it humanely. You know, you can trap them and then take them somewhere and release them away from your yard if you choose to. A lot of people don't. You know, release them. They just let them die in there. Bees are important to, you know, to our planet, but they're also a nuisance and causing, at least that bee, is causing, you know, damage to homes and stuff. So people are like not caring about what they're doing with those bees. So I'm not sure what my husband's gonna want to do. Even if I don't even think he's gonna want to trap them. So we shall see. All right. So now I've done that second layer of the Fuzzy Wuzzy, and I think I'm gonna just go over it one more time, because I wanted this a little darker and it didn't. So I'm gonna just press a little bit harder. I don't want to burnish, because then the paper won't take any more. Yeah, I like that a little bit better. So basically just going over that again, a little bit, like with medium pressure. And I'm keeping this simple. I'm not doing any shading that I would want to do because number one, these pencils are not good on this paper. And number two, it's going to take a long time. And I'm trying to make the videos as short as I can, you know, using different techniques, I guess. But for the most part, it's ending up being kind of like the same as far as the way I'm coloring because of, you know, the limited time I have to record. Once I get my, because I plan to go live, because I've already gotten my webcam, and I have a new digital camera. I just want to get one more light before I do that, because I think the lighting in here is not all that great, even with the light that I have purchased for these videos. I don't think it's all that great, but it's doing the job. But I just think that if I'm gonna go live, I want to have better lighting. And if I go live, then I can kind of like, you know, do things a little differently on those live videos and chat with you guys. I can't wait. I'm a little nervous about doing it, but you know, I'll eventually get there. I've had the webcam for over a month now. I'm just not, I just haven't taken the jump. All right, so I'm gonna take the dark chocolate, and I'm just gonna go over the edges just a little bit again. I want to darken it up a little bit, some areas. So I hope everybody's having a good week so far. I certainly am. Trying to get ready for our, we're decided to do our housewarming party as a fish fry / housewarming party. So we're, I've already done the save the date and sent out like the save the date invitation, kind of the announcement. And so far we have about 30 something coming. Family from out of town, family from out of state. So I'm excited to have everyone here and, you know, just celebrating with us over the purchase of our home. So, and it's our first home purchase together, so we're pretty excited that we were able to buy a house. It's a lot of hard work to, you know, to get to that place. If you weren't so good with money and saving and credit when you were younger, you have to, you know, kind of make a decision. If you want to be a homeowner, you gotta buckle down and sacrifice and get your, you know, bills paid. And luckily I have a mother who works in the industry, so she was able to, you know, I was able to go through her mortgage company that she works for to do my loan. And so she was on top of like the loan officers, like, no, that's not right, you got to fix it, because my mom's like a genius at that kind of work, and she does like all the different types of loans and stuff for her company. So she's very knowledgeable. She's been doing it for so long. So whenever something wasn't right, she like called me and say, "Oh, this wasn't right." So I told them to change it and get back in touch with you. And I was like, "Thanks, Mom," because I'm like so lost in this whole process. My mother was like an angel when it came to this, because I had no clue of what I was supposed to be doing. You know, I had a lot of questions, and I know I got on a lot of people's nerves, but hey, I'm buying a house. I want to make sure I'm doing it right. So you see, guys, I'm putting this here. It's just not taking the pigment. So I'm gonna have to press a little bit, but I don't want to press too hard. But yeah, so she helped. My realtor was awesome. It took us over a year, you guys, almost a year and a half to find a house to buy. The market, when we went to buy our house, was just booming. And as soon as the house came on the market, it was like off the market. So you can imagine how frustrating that could be for first-time home buyers, because you're like new to the whole process, and you fall in love with a house, and as soon as as soon as you get done walking through it and you decide, oh yeah, we should make an offer on it, the house is taken off the market like within an hour or two of you looking at it. So it was very frustrating. And at one point I was like, I give up. We'll just live in apartments because this is a headache. And my mom was like, no, don't you do that. God's going to bless you. You just got to trust and believe. The house that's meant for you is going to be yours. So, and we walked into this house and everything was just what it was supposed to be. And, moving ready. We didn't have to do any work to it. The house is only 4 years old. Upgrades in here. It's just really nice. And as soon as we walked in, and I was like, this is the house. And our realtor was like, you want to put an offer in now? I'm like, yeah. The house was only on the market for I want to say a day or less than a day. So we were those. And, I decided to write a letter with the offer because, they say that can help. And, so we wrote a letter with the offer, and, I just basically was admiring the way that they had the house decorated, and I saw that they were alumni from a college that my son was admitted to, was going to. And so it was some things I could pick out or point out that I think let them know that we were the ones, so between that and, and just having faith that we were going to get the house, it happened. We actually beat out a cash offer. So I was so thrilled when they took our offer. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it, guys. You talk about excitement, even though it's not over just yet. At least your offer was the one that was accepted, and you can move to the next step of homeownership. So I'm so grateful for the people who, helped us out. Okay, so I'm not gonna go around this area. I don't think we'll make a decision later because it's kind of tight now. I want some of this pink. I want the pink to show more. All right, so let me see what we're doing. All right. Okay, so now we're going to go to building 2. I'm sorry, guys. I don't think I was in frame the whole time. We're going to go to building 2. All right. And this one's kind of hidden. These 2 buildings are hidden behind this flower. So, all right. So building number 2 is actually going to be done in the khaki. And then also shading done with the dark chocolate. All right, so again, starting off with a light layer. So, but yes, homeownership. If you're not sure you want to do it, if I could do it all over again, I would. Some people say, one time was enough because it was just such a headache. I can't really say it was a headache. The hardest part for us in the whole process was finding a house to put an offer on, because all of the houses would, be off of the market by the time you wanted to go see it. That was the most frustrating thing. And come to find out, in this area, the Raleigh area, Wake County, RTP area. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. We had a lot of people from out of state who were moving here. It's a fast-growing city and a fast-growing county. And we had a lot of people moving here from out of state. And they were actually buying the homes sight unseen. I'm talking like people are just buying them right from the internet. They were not walking through the homes to see them. They're just buying it based on the pictures they saw. Like taking that kind of gamble. And unfortunately, you know, that's not a gamble I want to take for my first house. So I'm just like, nope, we're not doing that. So, you know, that was not so fun dealing with that. All right, so now we're gonna do some shading with the dark chocolate. This building is not gonna take that long because it's, you know, hidden for the most part. As I said, you guys, these pencils on this paper are not the best, but I'm doing the best I can with them. Working light. I mean, they glide, but they don't, they're not picking up the color as good as I would want them to. Almost looks patchy. So you could, if you wanted to, try a, you know, a blender of some kind, but I've never used, the only kind of blender I've used with Crayola was Vaseline, and I did not like that. So yeah, so I probably won't. Just gonna work the best I can. Now I find that Crayolas work really nice in the Joanna Basford books, because that was like one of the first fancy coloring books I'd ever bought, which was Secret Garden, and these pencils work really nice in that book. So, you know, I fell in love. I mean, I've always loved Crayola, but I really love my Crayolas until I started finding out about, you know, looking up other groups, Facebook groups, and seeing that there were other types of pencils out there. And I was like, ooh, I want to try those. I want to try those. And then, you know, just wanting to try those ended up, it turned into me having a bunch of supplies. And then with me being, having been in art school, you know, I had to have supplies for that too. So I always had an excuse as to why I had a lot of supplies, art supplies, whether it's for drafting, you know, the art theory classes where I had to use, like, I'm not art theory, but color theory classes where I had to get, you know, certain color pencils and certain markers and stuff and gouache. So I really had an excuse, but yeah, so, but yes, they work really good in those books. I've not tried them on the Millie Murata books, because that kind of paper kind of reminds me of this paper, so I'm not sure if these would be good in those books. I got to do a test on that. The pencils I like using in this book by the Rita Berman books, I really like using Marco Raffines in this book. They work really nice in this book. Okay, so I go around this area. I'm not going to go around the windows because it's kind of tight here, you know. You know, small spaces, and I still want that to be seen, you know, the khaki color underneath. So I'm going to go back with khaki. I'm going to add a second layer of khaki. And I'm going into the brown, the dark brown. So if you're wondering that, because I want it to look as even as possible. I don't know how many of you guys are watching Game of Thrones, but I'm so sad because I couldn't tell, and I didn't want to watch it again, if Brienne of Tarth died, because I love her in that show. I love her. Oh, I don't want this, you know, to end, but it's gonna end. I sat and actually, you know, I only watched season up to season 2, and I lost interest in it for some reason. And I stopped watching it. My husband had been watching it, all along. And I just decided that, you know what, I'm gonna watch it. So I sat and watched from the beginning, season 1, all the way to the new shows. And I did that in like a week and a half's time. So I was coloring and watching. And I was like, why did I stop watching this show? It's so good. But, it is what it is. All right, so I'm not going to add any more dark brown to this because it's, this is a lighter color anyway. And it's, you can see the dark brown in there. All right, so now I'm going to go with my third color, my third building back here. And that's going to be Apricot, or Apricot, however you say it. And just do the first light layer. Yes, but you guys, I've been really enjoying that. We're in season 8 now, and the second episode. Whew, man, that was an intense war. I almost was to the point where it was just too much for me. Not meaning like, not that I didn't like the scene, but that it was almost like drawn out. It was kind of getting like boring in a way. Like, okay, can we get something? Can we see what's going on? Can we see like this army ever ending? I mean, can we get to it? I was kind of like at my wit's end with like all of that. But then we got a good surprise at the end. Oh my gosh. Arya, she's the bomb. She was trained for a purpose. Good series if you haven't seen it yet. I know some people don't want to watch it, but if you haven't, it's available on Hulu. All of the seasons. You gotta, of course, sign up for HBO on Hulu, but I know you can get it. I think you can get it on Fire Stick. I think so. I'm not sure if Amazon is showing it or not. HBO. Of course, cable, but I don't have cable anymore. The only thing I have is internet, and I do not miss cable. Our cable was like running us almost $200 a month. And, we didn't really watch all of those channels and stuff. So to me, it was almost like it was a waste of money for us. So my brother was telling me that he had gone, cable free. And I was like, what are you talking about? What are you doing to watch TV? Oh, let me check it out. And ever since we've checked it out, I've not missed anything. My husband doesn't miss sports. If you wanted to use like DVR or something, that's an option with them. I mean, we don't miss anything. So pretty happy with going cable free. So basically we just use like we use Hulu, we have Amazon, Amazon Prime, we have Netflix, and then there's other like, free TV like apps you can use too. So I mean, you can always find something. But really YouTube TV is what my husband really likes because of, sports. He can watch anything he needs to watch. So when it comes to sports. All right, so I'm going over the apricot with the dark chocolate. I'm going to use a light hand because this is a light color and I don't want the chocolate to be too dark. And again, I'm blending the best I can with these pencils. All right. I think that since we're getting kind of close to me ending this video that I'm gonna do the rooftops off camera. We'll see when I'm done with this. Try to hurry. I don't want to hurry too much because then you make an error and have to erase. And that's one good thing about colored pencils. At least you can erase. And if you work light, then you know, less chance of messing up. But if you press hard in the beginning and you mess up, it'll be harder to get that pencil off, to erase it off. All right, so we're getting in here. This window, just doing it lightly. Again, this is dark chocolate. Dark chocolate. All right, so now I'm gonna go in back with the apricot and just go over this and try to a little darker and try to blend that all in. Not too hard. And if I see I need to add some more dark chocolate, I can always go back and add it. And typically you can, you want to shade with at least, 3 colors to get the best blends. But again, for the purpose of the videos, I don't do that. But I do blend with 3 different colors, when I'm just coloring for leisure off camera. It just takes longer because you have to do a lot of layering. And I don't seem to always have that kind of time. Now, do you see how the khaki and apricot almost look the same, like they're the same color? They look very similar in color on paper, but here they're not. So what I can do is go over this again, this khaki, one more time, see if I can get some more pigment on that, to get it to look, a little different than that, that one there. Or I can go over that apricot or apricot, however you say it. I can go over that with white just to change it up because I don't want it to look the same. So I'm going to grab my white pencil. Excuse me. Or not even white. We'll do yeah, I'll do white. Unfortunately, guys, I don't keep these in a zipper case, but I want to get one for them. Okay, so I'm going to go over it with white just to see if I can. I don't want it to look chalky, but it might. Just go over that with the white to see if it will, lighten it up just a little bit. I think it did. But now I'm going to go over the brown again. All right, so if they look the same, they're just going to have to. That's my fault for picking something that close together, but that's okay. It's okay. It's whatever we want it to be. So I'm just going to go lightly here and shade back in some of this brown. So really the whole point of this series is, working with budget-friendly pencils. It's it's doable, and it can still be fun. And you don't have to have all the expensive things, although it is nice to have them. But if you can't afford it, you make do with what you have until you can. And if you never are able to afford it, then you just know that you've developed a great skill with the pencils that you have. So I have this waiting for this lady to get back in town, because she's selling me some Faber-Castell Spectra Color. I think it's like a set of like 70 something pencils. Ooh, I cannot wait till she gets back in town, you guys. Because I'm gonna, get those, and she only wants $15. I kid you guys not, I'm always finding these deals. I don't know how I do it. $15 for these pencils, you guys. She doesn't know what she has, so cannot wait to get those. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the dark chocolate to do the doors. Okay, so let's see, we're gonna start with this door here. And I'm just gonna use the one color. I may change my mind, but we'll see. And basically I'm starting at the edges and light in the towards the center. Dark at the edges, light towards the center. For these. Center. And then I can go with a tan or something if I want to. Or just take your pencil over it very light. I do like using limited color palettes. You don't have to use every color that you have in your pencil box or your pencil pouch or your zipper case. I find that if you limit your palette, you can get really beautiful pictures too. So you don't have to use every color. And sometimes if you use too many colors, it can muddy up your picture. So like say you have an idea, like this one here, I'm as you can see, they're gonna probably be more muted, like neutral tones for this picture. I'm not sure what I want to do with the flowers just yet. It'll come to my mind when I get ready to do them. But yeah, so you don't have to use all of your pencils in your case. I think a lot of times people feel like, oh, I have 120 colors, I gotta use half of them. I'm being silly, but you know what I mean. You don't have to use that many. And sometimes on one, if you don't want to do a lot of shading or using a lot of pencils, you can learn to shade with one pencil. I'm doing it here, just using this dark chocolate, and I'm using it dark at the top, and then different pressure as I come down to lighten that up. As I come down here, then I get a little darker. There. And that's just with one pencil. You can shade with one pencil, you can shade with 2, 3, however many pencils you want. You can still get a nice effect. All right, so I'm gonna do the bricks darker. So I'm gonna keep this brown here. I'm going up to the second window now. Keeping it heavy down at the bottom, and the sides I'm, you know, making a light area as I get close to the top, to the center. All right. Okay, so keeping up with the trim, I'm gonna do this here with the dark brown. I'm gonna start heavy towards the ends here and lighten it up as I get to the center. Same on this side. Getting lighter as I get to that center. Okay. All right, so all of these are gonna have trim of the same trim. The doors I'm gonna do a different color, the inside of the door here. So I'm gonna go to the second window, second door, do the same thing. I'm gonna start heavy at the bottom, lighten up as we get to the center. Top, heavy pigment, heavy pressure. And as we get towards the center, we lighten it up. All right, I'm gonna cross here too. I'll make that. All right, so this here, I'm gonna do this in the same brown, I think, because it looks like this could be a window of some kind. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this in that same dark chocolate. But in here, I'm gonna go with a different darker brown. I might use that Beaver brown inside of there. So basically, starting heavy down here, lightening up as I get towards the top. This is going to be a limited palette for these buildings and pretty much for the whole picture. Let's see, go a little bit heavier here. Bring that up a little more. So I'm trying to think of some games to play with kids, you guys, for the housewarming party, because we're gonna have quite a bit of kids coming to the house, and we don't mind that because, you know, Christian's a kid, and when there's other kids to play with, he's not in grown folks' business. So you know, I'm like, what can I do? And I was thinking like water balloons, and my husband's like, no, because he doesn't want to be the one out in the yard. And even my son Kyle was like, no, why don't do water balloons, because then I'll have to be out there in the yard picking them up. And one of my coworkers was like, no, have the kids pick them up before they leave. I'm like, yeah, that's true too, but you know, when the parents are ready to go, they're not trying to wait for a kid to be cleaning up. So I think we're not going to go with those. So I have to find something for kids to play at the housewarming. And so it's going to be June 1st. So it'll be, you know, like almost summertime. And I was thinking about slip and slide, but then we're going to have a bunch of wet kids having to change clothes. So I think water play is going to be out. So unless we do like water guns, but then, you know, I know a lot of people who don't like their children playing with any type of fake guns, whether it's a water gun or, you know, like a pop gun or firecracker gun. They don't like it at all. So, and I'm one of those. I don't want Christian getting, you know, excited about that, because he kind of doesn't want to have one. I'm like, nope. And because of his eagerness to want to play with one, I just don't want him to have it. So that's probably going to be out. I was thinking about just letting him try it once, but the more I think about it, the more I'm saying I don't think so. All right, so now we're going over to this building here. We're doing the same thing, adding this dark chocolate, keeping it heavy towards the bottom, lighter in the centers, and then here we're going to go light, dark, and then light as we move to the center. You have another window here. We're doing the same thing. All right, so we're gonna go around this door. This is a kind of fancy door. Looks like a wrought iron, but we're gonna go ahead and do the trim at least. If you guys have any suggestions for cool games for kids to play outside, shoot me one. Shoot me a message. You know, I don't want to do the same old, like, you know, sock hop or the egg on the spoon and I don't want to do that. I just want to do something different because, you know, these kids are like, these are like the kids who play video games and stuff. These are not like the kids like we were. You know, these kids are like video games and they don't even want to go outside. So, all right. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take this Beaver that I was going to use for the roofs. So let me go ahead and see how much time we have. We have time. Actually, we don't. Okay, so I'm just going to take this Beaver and put some in here. I might have to go darker. Oh no, I think it'll work. In this window. And I'm pressing, I'm gonna have a firm pressure on this, pretty heavy. Putting this on here. All right, so I'm just gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. When you guys come back, you're gonna see that the rooftops are gonna be colored in. Let me just scoot back down here. So basically, I'm going to be going over the rooftop with a light pressure of antique brass. So basically, putting this in lightly like I've done for most of this picture, putting in, you know, the first layer really light and shading, and then I'll be shading with the Beaver color, okay? And so when I come back for video 2, the rooftops will be done, okay? But basically going over first layer with this antique brass, and that's gonna be on all the rooftops. The decorative parts of the roof, like these areas here, some of these things, I'm gonna be using just the Beaver, just using the Beaver. And gonna be shading with just that one color in those areas, okay? So I guess this is gonna be the point where I stop and then zoom out so you guys can see what it looks like thus far. Let me zoom in a little bit more because this is a small book. That's the thing, this is a small book, so it's kind of, let's see. Zoom back in so you guys can see. All right, and again, it's pushing up. Let me take that out. All right, so there we have our cute little buildings. We're using Crayola for these. If you guys have any questions or comments, any tips to help me out with this, with using Crayolas in this book, if you've done that already, please let me know down in the comments. All right, y'all, till next time, take care.